Hey guys, this is CJ with Beyond Adaptation Fitness. I'm an NSCA certified strength and conditioning specialist and a 250-hour certified yoga teacher. Today I'm going to be taking you through part one of a approximately 75-minute long strength and conditioning workout, minimal equipment. Part one is about 18 minutes, and this is all what I would consider like a primer workout. It's 3 rounds of some fairly low intensity movements that will mimic and facilitate the movements that I'll be doing later on in the workout. So I've got 3 rounds of that, and then I'm going through an extra banded warm-up for the shoulders to make sure that they're feeling very nice before I get started. So round 1, here we go. I'm doing what I very often do when I first start working out. I jump rope for a minute. This is an alternating single leg, single under cadence. I really love to jump rope. I love to work on my jump rope skills. I like that I can stay in one place to do my cardio. I like that I can vary up the cadence. So if you don't like to jump rope, you can easily go for a little 1 minute run or get on a stationary bike or even do jumping jacks. Next up, I'm doing straight leg sit-ups. And you may notice that these are a little different than the style that's commonly seen on the internet, where the arms are extended in front of you, parallel with your legs. Here, I'm keeping my hands outstretched above my head as well as I can. I'm also pushing my chest through and extending the back in that concentric motion. And then on the eccentric, I'm trying to go down with control very slowly, vertebra by vertebrae. And that is to mobilize the spine as well as strengthen it. So I would consider this more of a spinal exercise than an abdominal exercise for me. Next up, we're doing single leg glute bridges, 5 reps on each leg. So I'm stretching that non-working leg out, and I'm just trying to keep it even. So I'm trying to keep the hips even by keeping that leg extended. And it's good to do these one leg at a time, especially if you have hip alignment issues, which most of us do. And now that I've done single legs, I'm going to do 5 double leg glute bridges. Nice and slow, pausing at the top. These are also very nice to do if you have a hip band, placing that either around the ankles or just above the knees. But I'm not doing that today, I'm just keeping it simple. After the glute bridges, I'm going to work on my hip mobility a little bit more, doing 90-90s. So that just means each leg is in roughly a 90-degree angle, one in external rotation, one in internal rotation. And I'm just switching back and forth from one leg to the other, extending the hip. Also, when I'm rotating from side to side, I'm trying to keep my chest as high as I possibly can, so I don't want any rounding of the spine. And I'm really testing myself here by placing my hands behind my back, behind my head, and that's forcing me to keep my chest up. I'm letting my elbows also help me, so I'm pushing my elbows out, and that's helping me keep my chest up a little bit more. Trying to keep those knees high, and I'm doing this for a total of 10 reps. Taking my time, there's absolutely no rush. So that's the end of round 1. We're going to repeat that 2 more times, getting my jump rope again. So in the workout that follows, I'm doing double unders. So I'm kind of working my way up to double unders here. Now I'm doing single unders, and then some double unders. And I'm working on that for about a minute. important thing to remember for the double unders is to try to stay relaxed. I'm trying not to do too many here because I want to save myself for the end, but I'm just testing myself to see how fatigued I feel after just doing like a few sets of these. And it feels pretty good, so I'm just dialing in those double unders, continuing to kind of like get the heart rate up, warm up the body. You can see I'm like hitting a tree branch as I'm jumping the rope. No biggie. That's also troubleshooting for the workout that follows. Find a spot where you don't hit any vegetation. Now we're going back to those straight leg sit-ups for a total of 10 reps. Now, some people like to do these with a plate, like holding a weight outstretched overhead. That's fine. Like I do that sometimes too, but I actually find it to be slightly easier because it's providing a counterweight as you descend down. So by having no weight, I find that to be the most beneficial for my objectives at this point. Back to the single leg glute bridges, 5 on each leg. I like to do unilateral training whenever I can, particularly for my lower body because I had an injury a few years ago. I broke my right leg and I still have some residual issues that come up. So by doing these unilateral movements, I can check in to see like where that like muscle imbalance is. And that will inform how I will cue myself in a movement, like what I'm going to pay attention to. And it's going to inform future programming as well. So if I notice that there's a discrepancy that needs to be addressed, if I had plans to do something like a deadlift or a bilateral back squat, I might change it to a unilateral movement like a Bulgarian split squat or a pistol squat or something like that. Back to the 90-90s, a total of 5 reps on each leg, 10 total. I'm paying a lot of attention to my hip flexors in this particular workout. So here I'm working on strengthening them in the lengthened position. Later on I'm going to be doing like L-sit leg lifts over an obstacle with the legs extended. So this is doing a lot of things for me. It's limbering me up for kettlebell movements, cleans and deadlifts, both which require hip drive, hip extension. It's also getting me ready to do those L-sit leg lifts. And I'm going to be doing some running later. So overall, very, very useful. And now we've arrived at round 3. Back to the jump ropes. This time I decided to alternate between single unders and double unders, switching the jump style every 10 reps. So after I finish this round, we'll be at about 14 minutes. And I'm going to be doing an extra like shoulder mobility warm-up with a red resistance band just for planning purposes. final round of straight leg sit-ups, 10 reps. And at this point in the workout, I'm feeling good. I shouldn't be if you're doing this workout, you really shouldn't be feeling tired at this point, just like primed and ready to go. So these movements should just feel nice on your body. If you're a beginner, most of my other starting workouts, I recommend that you can repeat them 2 to 3 times to make them like a full length workout. But for this particular routine, I would not recommend doing that because the particularly for like the 90-90s and the glute bridges, I don't really think you can derive that much benefit from doing like really high reps of those at any particular time. Your time would best be spent doing something a little bit more substantive, like working on squats, working on deadlifts, working on core strength. So even if you're a beginner, I would invite you to check out the second half of this workout, Quebec 2, and I will be releasing that soon. Because most of the movements aren't particularly technical, or if they are, you can likely scale them down to a lighter weight and just work on your technique more than anything else. But this is a really good metabolic conditioning session that I would invite anyone to try. All right, and here we go into the banded warm-up. So 10 reps of banded lateral raises. That's going to hit the side delts and the rear delts. Rounds of shoulder flossing back and forth, being very mindful not to shrug the shoulders here. So this is really going to open up the chest. The beauty of the resistance band is that there's a little wiggle room here. There's like a grace period, if you will. Unlike a PVC pipe, if your grip is too close together and say you apply a little bit too much pressure as you rotate backwards, I mean, there's a chance you could hurt yourself. Whereas the resistance band, you can kind of play around with those edges, and the elastic is going to, bring you safely to the edges of your mobility, I find. Banded overhead presses. So I'm going to be doing overhead presses with a kettlebell in the workout that follows. I want to make sure that that movement feels nice, getting that dialed in. 10 reps of those. And you can see here as I push overhead, I'm kind of exaggerating that overhead position, still warming up the front of the shoulder, the chest, the pecs. Diagonal pull-aparts. This is going to hit the, I feel it the most in the rear delts, to be honest with you, and like the rear shoulder. So one hand is anchored just below the hip, while the other hand is doing the work. And it's pretty straightforward. You just kind of pull it out to the side. Behind the neck pull-aparts. This is more of a test that I tried because I've seen people do this. And I was curious what the benefit was. I usually do it with bent, with my elbows bent and like extending the forearms. I mean, it felt fine. I'm not really sure the benefit of it, but you know, this is the beauty of the warm-up. You can try things, you know, see how they feel. This is like a time for creativity. Banded overhead shoulder circles, 5 revolutions in each direction. Just trying to make the biggest circle possible in my shoulder socket. All right, so that's time. We made it to like 18 minutes. I hope that you enjoyed this. Please feel free to give it a try. Follow along if you like. These are just a few clips of the workout that I have prepared for you coming ahead. And the good news is that I've tested it for you. So I can give you feedback on how I feel, any suggestions that might make it easier for you. And stay tuned for part 2. Please remember to like and subscribe to this channel, Beyond Adaptation Fitness. And I'll see you next time.